The massive Zephyrian warship emerged from the quantum void, its biometallic hull shimmering like liquid mercury in the cold light of Sol. Supreme Commander Rhiannon stood at the command center, her silver-scaled skin reflecting the holographic displays surrounding her. After conquering 12 star systems across the galaxy, the Zephyrians had perfected the art of planetary subjugation. Earth would be just another trophy in their ever-expanding empire. Analysis of the target planet, Rhiannon commanded, her translator converting her harmonic language into something the ship's AI could process. First Officer Thalen interfaced with the ship's quantum sensors, his neural tendrils connecting directly with the ship's systems. Primitive civilization, Commander. No significant space presence. Nuclear capabilities, but nothing that could penetrate our quantum shields. He paused, recalibrating his instruments. However, there's something unusual about this world's composition. Elaborate, Rhiannon's scales shifted to a deeper shade of silver, indicating her interest. The planet's magnetic field is extraordinarily dynamic. The core is unusually active, creating complex gravitational fluctuations. The atmosphere is dense, with multiple layers of electromagnetic interference. Nothing we haven't encountered before individually, but this particular combination. Thalen's voice trailed off as he processed more data. Rhiannon dismissed his concerns with a wave of her chromatic hand. The Zephyrians had evolved in the quantum storms of their home world, developing technology that could manipulate the very fabric of space-time. What could a primitive planet possibly throw at them? Deploy the Vanguard. Standard Conquest Protocol. 3 scout ships detached from the warship, their biometallic hulls morphing into stealth configuration as they approached Earth's atmosphere. That's when the first signs of trouble emerged. Commander. Thalen's scales pulsed with alarm. The scouts are reporting systematic failures. Earth's magnetic field is interfering with our quantum stabilizers. Rhiannon watched in growing concern as the scout ship's perfectly orchestrated approach deteriorated into chaos. Their biometallic hulls, designed to phase through normal matter, began to solidify and crack under the unexpected stress of Earth's natural forces. The first scout ship attempted to compensate, its quantum matrix reconfiguring to counteract the magnetic interference. Instead, the adjustment amplified the problem. Earth's magnetic field coupled with the ship's spacetime manipulators, creating a cascading resonance that tore the vessel apart at the molecular level. Impossible, Rhiannon whispered, her scales fading to a pale gray of shock. The remaining scouts fared no better. One ship's attempt to retreat was thwarted by the very gravitational forces it was designed to ignore. It spiraled helplessly, caught in Earth's grasp like cosmic debris in a black hole's event horizon. The third scout maintained structural integrity only by completely shutting down its advanced systems, becoming little more than an expensive meteorite in orbit. Full sensor sweep, Rhiannon ordered, her chromatic form vibrating with frustration. I want to know exactly what we're dealing with. Thalen's analysis painted an increasingly concerning picture. Earth's magnetic field wasn't just strong, it was adaptive, shifting and pulsing in patterns that seemed to actively resist their technology. The planet's gravity well, combined with its atmospheric pressure, created conditions that turned their most advanced systems against them. The humans, Rhiannon mused, studying recordings of Earth's inhabitants. They evolved in these conditions. Affirmative, Thalen confirmed. Their biological structures are perfectly adapted to these forces. They don't just survive here, they thrive. Rhiannon's tactical scales pulsed as she considered the implications. The Zephyrians had always relied on their ability to manipulate fundamental forces, but here was a planet where those very forces seemed to have a will of their own. We cannot retreat, Rhiannon declared. The High Council would never accept failure against such a primitive world. Prepare the main invasion force. We will adapt our technology. If we cannot conquer their planet through our usual means, we will find another way. As the warship began its preparations, Earth's defenders remained unaware of the approaching threat. But the planet itself, with its swirling magnetic fields and relentless gravity, had already claimed its first victims. The real battle was about to begin, and humanity's greatest ally would be the very world beneath their feet. In the ship's quantum core, Rhiannon initiated the invasion protocols, her form glowing with determination. She couldn't know that their greatest challenge wouldn't be humanity's weapons or defenses, but rather the fundamental forces that had shaped human evolution. The battle for Earth would be fought not just against its inhabitants, but against nature itself. And nature, as the Zephyrians would soon learn, played by its own rules. At the International Space Surveillance Center in Geneva, Dr. Riya Patel stared at her quantum fluctuation monitors in disbelief. The readings made no sense. The upper atmosphere was alive with energy patterns she'd never seen before. "Director Blackwood," she called out, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "You need to see this." James Blackwood, the facilities director, leaned over her shoulder, his weathered face illuminated by the dancing patterns on her screen. "Talk to me, Dr. Patel. These energy signatures, they're like nothing in our database. The magnetosphere is acting like it's being probed, tested. And look at these gravitational anomalies." She pointed to a series of rippling patterns. "It's as if something is trying to manipulate our gravity well, but the planet is fighting back." Above Earth's atmosphere, the main Zephyrian fleet materialized, 40 warships arranged in a perfect dodecahedron formation. Their hulls had been reinforced, their quantum manipulators modified. Commander Rhiannon had ordered every possible adaptation to counter Earth's defensive properties. It wasn't enough. Multiple system failures across the fleet. Thalen's voice carried notes of panic as data streams flooded his neural interface. "The magnetic field modifications aren't holding. Our quantum shields are destabilizing." Rhiannon watched in mounting horror as their carefully planned invasion crumbled before it began. Earth's magnetic field didn't just interfere with their technology, it adapted. Every modification they made was met with an equal and opposite reaction, as if the planet itself was learning and responding to their attempts to subdue it. Back on Earth, military installations worldwide began picking up the anomalies. At NATO headquarters in Brussels, General Hannah Martinez coordinated with global defense forces. "Whatever's up there is trying to hide," she explained to the assembled leaders. "But our planet's natural defenses are making that impossible." The night sky had transformed into a spectacular light show. The aurora borealis, typically confined to polar regions, now danced across the sky at all latitudes. But mixed with the familiar green and blue waves were strange, metallic ripples that shouldn't have been there. In orbit, the Zephyrian fleet struggled to maintain cohesion. Their biometallic technology, which had evolved to manipulate natural forces, found itself overwhelmed by Earth's raw power. Ships that attempted to descend faced crushing gravitational forces far beyond their calculations. Those that tried to maintain their position discovered that Earth's magnetic field had turned their own quantum stabilizers into anchors, pulling them inexorably downward. "Adapt," Rhiannon commanded, her scales now pulsing with desperate intensity. "We are Zephyrians. We bend reality to our will." But reality, it seemed, had other plans. The first warship to attempt a landing approach disintegrated spectacularly, its biometallic structure unable to maintain quantum coherence under the combined assault of Earth's gravity, magnetic field, and atmosphere. Dr. Patel's team worked frantically to understand what they were witnessing. "The planet's natural defenses are amplifying," she explained to the Emergency UN Council via video conference. "It's like Earth's magnetic field is a living entity, actively responding to these intrusion attempts." General Martinez seized on this information. "So the aliens' own technology is being used against them? Can we enhance this effect?" "We might not have to," Dr. Patel replied, excitement creeping into her voice. "Look at these readings, Earth's core is becoming more active. The magnetic field is strengthening naturally. It's as if the planet itself is mounting an immune response against the invasion." In space, Rhiannon faced a decision she'd never encountered in all her years of conquest. Her fleet was being decimated not by advanced weapons or superior tactics, but by the fundamental forces of nature itself. Ships were either being crushed by gravity, torn apart by magnetic forces, or rendered powerless by the cascade of system failures. "Commander," Thalen reported, his scales now a sickly pale color, "we've lost contact with the entire southern quadrant of the fleet. The remaining ships are reporting critical quantum matrix destabilization. We can't maintain our molecular cohesion in these conditions." Rhiannon watched as another warship succumbed to Earth's defenses, its biometallic hull crystallizing and shattering like glass. Her own flagship's quantum core was beginning to fluctuate, sending tremors through the command center. On Earth, humanity began to understand that they were witnessing something unprecedented. Their planet, through its very nature, was proving to be their greatest defender. The same forces that had shaped human evolution, gravity, magnetism, atmospheric pressure, had become an impenetrable barrier against an advanced alien invasion. Dr. Patel's monitors showed the alien fleet's desperate attempts to retreat, but Earth's gravity well had other plans. Like a cosmic Venus flytrap, the planet's natural forces held the remaining ships in their grasp, slowly but inexorably pulling them apart. "Should we attempt communication?" someone asked in the UN emergency session. General Martinez shook her head. "Nature is handling this for us. Sometimes the best strategy is to let your opponent defeat themselves." As the last Zephyrian ships fought against their inevitable doom, Rhiannon finally understood their fatal mistake. They had seen Earth as primitive, failing to recognize that its very primitiveness, its raw, uncontrolled natural forces, made it the deadliest opponent they had ever faced. At the heart of NORAD's subterranean complex, Professor Naomi Winters hunched over a microscope, studying fragments of alien biometal recovered from a fallen scout ship. The material defied conventional physics, attempting to maintain its quantum state even as Earth's natural forces pulled it toward stability. "Fascinating," she muttered, making another note in her already crowded research journal. "Their entire technology is based on quantum manipulation. No wonder Earth's magnetic field is wreaking havoc on their systems." Across the room, Colonel Viktor Petrov reviewed the latest satellite data. "The remaining alien ships are trapped in a degrading orbit," he announced, his Russian accent thick with excitement. "Their attempts to use quantum tunneling to escape are being blocked by our magnetosphere." In orbit, Commander Rhiannon's flagship shuddered as another system's cascade tore through its quantum matrix. Her scales had lost all color, turning a dull gray of defeat. "How?" she demanded of no one in particular. "How can a primitive world possess such power?" First Officer Thalen, his own form barely maintaining coherence, interfaced with the ship's failing sensors one last time. "Commander, I believe I understand now. Our civilization evolved to control natural forces. We bend reality to our will. But these humans, they evolved to work with their planet's forces, not against them. Their technology," he continued, "crude as it is, was developed to function within these conditions. While we try to impose our will on their world, they have spent millennia learning to harness its natural power." At the Geneva facility, Dr. Patel made a breakthrough that confirmed Thalen's realization. "Look at this," she called out to Director Blackwood. "Our terrestrial electronics are actually being shielded by the same magnetic forces destroying their ships. Earth's field is protecting technology that evolved to work within its parameters." The implications weren't lost on the world's military leaders. General Martinez quickly organized a bold counteroffensive. "If their quantum technology can't handle our natural environment," she reasoned, "then let's give them more of what they can't handle." Within hours, fusion plants worldwide began pumping excess energy into the Earth's magnetosphere through a network of massive electromagnetic inductors. The planet's already formidable magnetic field grew stronger, more chaotic. In orbit, the effect was devastating. The remaining Zephyrian ships, already struggling to maintain quantum coherence, began to break apart at the molecular level. Their biometal hulls crystallized and shattered, raining harmless dust into the upper atmosphere. It's like watching an immune system response on a planetary scale, Dr. Patel explained to the UN Security Council. The aliens' quantum-based technology is so foreign to Earth's natural state that the planet's fundamental forces are actively rejecting their presence. Commander Rhiannon watched helplessly as her mighty fleet disintegrated around her. The Zephyrians had conquered worlds by imposing their will on reality itself, but here they had encountered something they couldn't subjugate, a planet whose raw, primal forces refused to be tamed. The humans, she realized with growing awe, they're not primitive at all. They're perfectly adapted to exist in conditions we can barely survive. Their seeming technological inferiority is actually evolutionary superiority. Professor Winter's analysis of the alien fragments revealed another crucial insight. Their biometal technology requires quantum stability to maintain its structure, she reported. Earth's dynamic magnetic field, variable gravity, and dense atmosphere create a natural quantum disruption field. We're not just watching their technology fail, we're watching it trying and failing to exist in our reality. As the last Zephyrian ships crumbled in orbit, humanity began to understand its unique place in the cosmos. They had always looked to the stars, imagining advanced civilizations that had mastered nature itself. Instead, they discovered that their greatest strength lay in their harmony with their world's natural forces. Colonel Petrov summed it up best: we didn't defeat them with superior weapons or tactics. We won because we are children of Earth, born and evolved in her embrace. Our seeming weakness, our adaptation to these primal forces, proved to be our greatest defense. In her disintegrating flagship, Commander Rhiannon made her final log entry. Let this be a warning to all who would attempt to conquer Earth. Its power lies not in its civilization's advancement, but in its wild, untamed nature. The humans are not masters of their world, they are its partners, and that makes them far more formidable than any quantum-wielding empire. The orbital ballet of destruction entered its final act as Earth's enhanced magnetic field continued to tear apart the remaining Zephyrian vessels. But Commander Rhiannon had one last desperate gambit to play. Initiate quantum core overload, she commanded, her voice carrying the hollow tone of one who had accepted defeat but refused to surrender. If we cannot conquer this world, perhaps we can at least wound it. Deep within the bowels of her flagship, the quantum core began its catastrophic breakdown. The plan was simple yet devastating: create a quantum singularity that would disrupt Earth's magnetic field long enough for any surviving ships to escape. But Dr. Patel, monitoring the situation from Geneva, detected the power buildup. They're trying to punch a hole in our magnetosphere, she shouted, fingers flying across her console. The energy readings are off the charts. Professor Winters, now coordinating with teams worldwide, quickly grasped the implications. If they succeed, it won't just allow them to escape. A quantum breach of that magnitude could destabilize Earth's core dynamics. General Martinez didn't waste time on deliberation. Execute Protocol Gaia, she ordered. All electromagnetic inductors at maximum power. Every fusion plant, every Tesla array, give Earth everything we've got. Around the globe, human technology synced with planetary forces in an unprecedented display of cooperation. Power stations poured energy into the magnetosphere, while arrays of inductors helped shape and direct the planetary magnetic field. The effect was both beautiful and terrifying. The aurora now covered the entire planet, a curtain of shifting light that marked the battlefield between human determination and alien desperation. In orbit, Rhiannon watched in disbelief as her final gambit backfired spectacularly. The increased magnetic flux didn't weaken Earth's defenses, it created a resonance effect with the quantum core's building overload. Commander. Thalen's voice cracked with fear. The planetary magnetic field is using our own quantum energy against us. It's creating a containment bubble around the fleet. Professor Winters, analyzing the phenomenon in real time, couldn't contain her excitement. It's like a natural quantum bottle. Earth's magnetic field is essentially creating a containment vessel around their quantum explosion. The Zephyrian flagship's hull groaned as forces beyond comprehension twisted its biometal structure. The quantum core's energy, meant to punch through Earth's defenses, instead found itself reflected and focused back onto the alien fleet. They didn't understand, Dr. Patel explained to the transfixed UN Council. Earth's magnetic field isn't just a static barrier. It's a dynamic system that's been protecting our planet from solar radiation and cosmic forces for billions of years. Their quantum attack isn't fighting against a shield, it's fighting against eons of evolved planetary defense mechanisms. In her failing command center, Rhiannon watched the final moments of her fleet with a sense of horrified wonder. The quantum core breach, contained and redirected by Earth's magnetic field, created a cascade of failure that rippled through every surviving ship. Colonel Petrov's orbital sensors captured the moment in perfect clarity, a sphere of quantum energy, wrapped in a cocoon of magnetic force, imploding with devastating precision. When the light faded, nothing remained of the mighty Zephyrian fleet except a shower of inert particles drifting harmlessly through the upper atmosphere. The threat is neutralized, General Martinez announced to the world's leaders. Earth's natural defenses, amplified by human technology, have turned their own weapons against them. In research facilities worldwide, scientists began analyzing the data from humanity's first, and victoriously brief, interstellar war. The implications were staggering. They had discovered not only that they weren't alone in the universe but that their planet possessed natural defenses beyond their wildest imaginations. Professor Winters, studying the last sensor readings of the quantum implosion, made perhaps the most profound observation: we've always thought our planet needed our protection. Today we learned that the relationship goes both ways. Earth isn't just our home, it's our guardian, and we are its chosen defenders. In the months following the Zephyrian invasion attempt, Earth experienced what scientists called planetary aftershocks. The magnetosphere remained hyperactive, creating spectacular aurora displays visible even at the equator. It was as if the planet itself was still on guard, ready to defend against any future threats. At a special UN session in New York, Professor Winters presented her final analysis of the conflict. The Zephyrian's fundamental mistake, she explained to the assembled leaders, was assuming that technological advancement meant breaking free from natural laws. Earth taught them, and us, that true advancement means working in harmony with those laws. Dr. Patel's team had managed to reconstruct much of the aliens' quantum technology from the scattered debris. Their entire civilization was built on the principle of quantum manipulation, she reported. They saw nature as something to be conquered and controlled. That philosophy made them incredibly powerful in space, and incredibly vulnerable on Earth. The scientific community's greatest breakthrough came from studying the final moments of the Zephyrian fleet. The interaction between their quantum technology and Earth's magnetic field had revealed new principles of physics that promised to revolutionize human understanding of the universe. It's ironic, Colonel Petrov noted during a global security conference. They came to conquer us but ended up giving us the keys to the stars, just not in the way they intended. General Martinez, now heading the newly formed Planetary Defense Initiative, worked to implement the lessons learned. We don't need quantum weapons or reality-bending technology, she argued. Our greatest defense is our planet's natural forces and our ability to work with them rather than against them. In orbit, automated stations monitored the space around Earth, their sensors enhanced by the new understanding of quantum magnetic interactions. But the greatest guardian remained Earth itself, its dynamic magnetic field now recognized as a living shield that had evolved over billions of years to protect the life it harbored. Research stations in Antarctica detected something remarkable: the planet's magnetic field had actually grown stronger after the invasion. Dr. Patel's theory, backed by mounting evidence, suggested that Earth's magnetic defense system had learned from the encounter, adapting to better protect against future quantum-based threats. We're beginning to understand, Professor Winters wrote in her landmark paper, that Earth isn't just a rock floating in space. It's a complex system that actively maintains conditions suitable for life, and now we know it actively defends that life as well. The fragments of Zephyrian technology, rendered inert by Earth's forces, provided another crucial insight. Their biometal, designed to exist in a quantum flux state, simply couldn't maintain stability in Earth's environment. It was a powerful reminder that evolution in one set of conditions didn't guarantee survival in another. As humanity looked to the stars with new eyes, they carried a profound lesson: true strength doesn't come from dominating nature, but from understanding and working with it. The Zephyrians, for all their advanced technology, had forgotten this fundamental truth, and paid the ultimate price. World leaders, guided by this new philosophy, established the Earth Harmony Protocol, a directive that all future human space exploration and development must work with, not against, the natural forces they encountered. It was a commitment to carry the lessons of their victory into the cosmos. In her final address before retiring, General Martinez summed up humanity's new understanding: we are not Earth's masters or its destroyers. We are its children, evolved in its embrace, protected by its strength. Our future among the stars doesn't depend on conquering nature, but on being nature's willing partners in the dance of existence. And somewhere in the vast expanse of space, the story of Earth's victory spread among the stars, a cautionary tale of how a primitive world defeated one of the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy, not through superior firepower or technology, but through the simple, profound power of working in harmony with nature itself. The message was clear: Earth was not just a planet, it was a fortress, defended not by walls or weapons, but by the very forces that had shaped life itself. And its inhabitants, far from being primitive, had achieved something far greater than quantum manipulation. They had learned to dance with the fundamental forces of the universe, and in doing so, had become unconquerable.